Hello friends, welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about what everyone is talking about, and that is the Balenciaga scandal. I have a little bit different perspective on this than what everyone else is talking about. Everyone's talking about the obvious, and that is, the things that have been found in the photos and what they're linked to. If you just Google it, Google who owns Balenciaga. It's a parent company called Carrie. And I can't remember the man's name. I did look it up. I can't remember his name. His wife is Salma Hayek. So, all of these people are tied in together. They're all tied in together. It's all of Hollywood. It's all of the high fashion, the big names, Adidas, Coty, they're all tied in together. Also, the parent company, Carrie, also sells a line of child mannequins. I'm trying to figure out how to say this without being demonetized. The child mannequins are nude and for a specific purpose, which goes along with all of their suggestive photos. So that's what these child mannequins are sold for. Francois Henry, I don't know why I couldn't remember that name, but that is who owns the parent company of Balenciaga, and that is Kering. And this is those child mannequins that they sell, and you can tell what they're for. Very, very disturbing. And if this is who is behind Balenciaga, you can see there's no accident. So none of these photos or anything planted in the photos were by accident. Okay, first of all, I want to say they were trying to blame the photographer. Well, photographers don't put things in photos. They are paid to come and take photos of what the company wants in the photos. And the photographs that they take have to be approved by multiple people before they're published. Who wouldn't look at the photos and give an okay for them? Okay, so they're now saying that the children weren't actually supposed to be in these photos, but no one has mentioned anything about court documents and diplomas in the photos that are very suggestive. And these type of photos from Balenciaga have been around for a while, and they've used different photographers with the same type of content. So were all of these photographers doing this? I don't think so. But my perspective of this is a little bit different. Like I said, if you step out of the emotion of it, the shock of it, and just stand back and look at it, this goes all the way back to the Bible. First of all, they had like caution tape in one of the photos. Okay, here's that roll of tape spelled BAAL, which is a misspelling done on purpose. And that was in an ad with a child in it. And they're also using a lot of the GIMP masks, even with children. So I'll let you look here what they're for. Balenciaga, which, by the way, the word itself, I believe it's Latin. If you look it up, the word itself means do what you want, which goes back to Aleister Crowley and the Book of Satan, or the Satanic Bible, which says, do what thou wilt is the whole of the law. So it's not hard to figure out by looking at Balenciaga's runways, in the mud pits, their model, their main model. I was shocked to see that she was only 31 or 32 years old. I can't remember her name. I think it's Mitna. I think that's what it is. she's young and she looks scary. She looks very aged. Okay, here you can see a very menacing looking person coming up behind this model. This model looks very normal to me. The runway does not look normal, and neither does this person. This is their star model. And she does, first of all, I wasn't sure if it was a he or a she, but she does not look 31 or 32 years old in any way, not how she walks or carries herself or her face, nothing. This is a very menacing looking person. Honestly, she looks very evil, and I do believe that that was the intent of this fashion show. And we're going to go ahead and look at a few other things in this fashion show that really stood out to me as an ex-witch, and just recognizing certain things that I've seen. I was shocked at the age. And that just kind of goes to show sin ages you. Have you ever noticed that? True Christians have like a youth about them. And true evil it looks very aged. It ages you. I don't know if anyone else has noticed that, but if you go back to the Bible in the court of King Ahab and Queen Jezabel, she was a self-proclaimed prophetess, and she was like basically a high priestess in Baal worship. And I know everyone pronounces the name Baal differently, but if you just look at the word, at the name Jezebel, wasn't she named for that? There's nothing new under the sun. The devil's going to repeat everything. And here, how often are we seeing Baal or Moloch being mentioned in these last, I don't know, couple decades especially? So, and even the book of Revelation talks about it. My point is, all of this stuff, all of these photos and video, I mean, if you really, really dig into it and Google this and that in regards to Balenciaga and these photos, and even back to Pizzagate, a lot of the same photos and a lot of the same people are involved. So that tells you a lot. This was no accident. They are allowing this on purpose. This was purposeful, because the more times that they can shock you with this type of stuff, the quicker you'll be desensitized to it. At some point, you're not going to be shocked by hearing about this stuff anymore. It's going to start to become more normalized because you've been shocked by it so many times. That's the purpose. That's the big purpose in this, is to desensitize you. You might feel shocked right now, but really this was done on purpose, specifically to shock you so you can be desensitized. This is going to become more and more common, just like it was in Sodom and Gomorrah. It's common. There's a reason that Jezebel is named in the book of Revelation. There's a reason she's named. It is because, you look into the Freemasons and secret societies, the Illuminati, and all of this, everything is tied together. All of it. In the secret society stuff, if you look into that, who are they worshiping? Who are they even the pretend stuff that they say, it's just mock, it's just pretend. It was Moloch. It was Baal. And it always involves children. It always involves children. I remember seeing documentaries about that, and I remember feeling shocked. I honestly don't feel shocked at this Balenciaga stuff. I had mentioned Aleister Crowley earlier in the Satanic Bible. This actually all ties into that. Aleister Crowley had added the letter K to the word magic, and that's because he wanted to separate true magic from like party tricks. And he felt like, there was a big difference. And there is. But he was known for ritualistic sexual magic. And it involved children. So all of this ties into that. How many Hollywood elite politicians, world leaders, people in high places, how many of them are actually following the Satanic Bible? And it's easy for us to view everyone as kind and nice, just because they smile, just because they do a good deed. We view them maybe as a Christian. Just because somebody says they're spiritual or religious doesn't mean they're talking about the same God that we are. The big G God. Their God is a little g God. Like I said, there's a reason that Jezabel is mentioned in the book of Revelation, because everything, if the devil used something in the past and it worked, wouldn't he use it again in the future? It's all done on purpose. Every last detail is being done on purpose to desensitize us, the public. So, yeah. Okay, something that stood out to me when I started doing research on this is Kamala Harris's stepdaughter is a model for Balenciaga. And they actually hooked her up with this job. She wanted to be a model, and they got her this job. So she's likely one of the models on this runway. So there's a few things that I wanted to point out to you. This is not a normal fashion show. There's never been a fashion show like this. So, let's be real. They're not pushing fashion. There's nothing fashionable about anything that anyone is wearing. This is a lifestyle that they're pushing. And the sleeves on some of these jackets, and how many of them are carrying that S&M bondage teddy bear. And one of the models is even carrying a baby. So there's something that they're pushing. Look at the sleeves here. How many of you remember Bill Wies's book, 23 Minutes in Hell? If you haven't read it, I suggest reading it. He said there was demons that had disproportionate arms and legs and features, and that's what this reminds me of. And that makes me think, these people who are practicing black magic, Satanism, they are doing rituals, they are conjuring demons. I know that sounds far out to some people, but it's true. Where do you think they're getting the ideas for these things? This is where they're getting the ideas. Look at this woman. This is not fashion. They are pushing a lifestyle. They are pushing an agenda. And it starts right here. This woman looks like she belongs in a horror movie. She looks like she should be in a dungeon running a torture chamber. But yeah, so I hope you guys really think about prayer, really upping your game in prayer, asking the Lord for strong discernment to recognize and see what's happening in the world. And really, this should tell us how close we are to the end. So I hope you got something out of this. I hope you're all having a great day. I'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.